refrain from making any purchases, either in stores or online, to shun fast food, getting gas for a full day. I know. That look on your face says it all. You're right. It's so fucking...
We have the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. And nobody, not a governor, not a mayor, not a president, not a secretary of education is talking about it. We're all wrapped up. Look, in 7th grade, if I known that I could have said the word they and got in the girls' bathroom, I would have done it.
No, this is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes. It is impossible to build, so the cost of housing... Let me finish, I give you a chance. Cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago.
Bill Maher just pulled off the unthinkable. He got CNN's Fareed Zakaria to admit that some of Trump's policies were actually good for America. Yes, you heard that right. On Real Time, Zakaria squirmed, chuckled, and was forced to acknowledge the truth, all while Maher expertly tossed truth bombs that left the CNN pundit in a tight spot. Watching Zakaria, a regular defender of the left, crack under pressure was pure gold. The irony? Thick. The shock? Real. This moment was a total game changer.
Trump wants to sell a visa. You get permanent residency. By the way, we are hardly, I looked this up, we are hardly the first country to do this. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. But, you know, I remember...
Yeah, we actually have a version of it. It's called, I think it's called the EB-5 or something like that. So it's fine to do it. I actually think, maybe it's because I'm, very patriotic. I think 5 million, we should be charging 20 million, or, American citizenship is worth more than that.
It comes with Ukrainian minerals, though.
But what I love about Trump is, he said, you get the green card, but with this, the gold card, you get extra privileges. like what? You get to vote twice?
Hold on, because what I'm about to tell you will make you do a serious double take. Fareed Zakaria. Yes, that Fareed Zakaria from CNN, the network that practically dedicates an entire segment to trashing Trump every single hour, actually admitted that Trump's gold card permanent residency policy is a good idea. Cue the gasps. This is the same guy who spent years criticizing Trump's every move, from the border wall to his fast food orders. And yet, there he was, on national TV, handing Trump a surprising win. But wait, it gets better. Zakaria didn't just stop at giving the policy a pat on the back. Oh no, he went full throttle. In a jaw-dropping moment, Zakaria suggested the price tag of the gold card, already a mind-blowing $5 million, should be bumped up to a staggering $20 million. Yes, you heard that right. If you're wealthy and want to live in the US, Zakaria says it should cost you a lot more. Coming from someone who usually rants about equality and fairness, this take was downright rich. And I mean that in every possible sense.
Well, now you're speaking Chicago language. I'm for it, but it's part of a bigger package on immigration reform. It's been 42 years since the last one. So I'm not against it, but it's part of a whole package.
Bill Maher is low-key a genius. The man pulled off something amazing, getting not one, but two lefties to admit on air that Trump's gold card policy might actually be smart. Maher didn't just stumble into it. He set the tone. He casually mentioned the policy, and boom, both guests followed suit like political dominoes. Even Rahm Emanuel, the ultimate Democratic insider, admitted it's been ages since a policy like this was proposed. Seriously, where was his party all those years? And get this, Rahm even started criticizing the woke policies of his own party. When insiders start turning on the inside game, you know things are getting real.
There is a general rule. I had this when I was mayor. Safe streets, strong schools, stable finances. Focus on those three things and your city's going to be fine. We've gone through 5 years where people became way too permissive to culture. They were all, which is why everything's locked up at Walgreens and CVS, and that is a disaster.
Yeah.
And I'll say this about our schools. I don't want to hear another word about the locker room. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom. You better start focusing on the classroom.
I agree.
It's starting to look like the left is eating itself alive, and honestly, it's hilarious to watch. Here's the context. On Real Time, Bill Maher dropped a brutal stat. The mayor of Chicago has a pitiful 6.6% approval rating. That's not just low. That's resign and rethink your entire life low. And Rahm Emanuel, former mayor and master of political spin, didn't even try to sugarcoat it. He straight up threw his own party under the bus with a smile, claiming the left's obsession with non-essential culture wars was making the entire movement look out of touch and toxic. Then came the rant. Oh, it was glorious. Rahm basically begged the woke crowd to stop turning every locker room and bathroom into a battlefield and just maybe focus on something that actually matters, like education. You know, reading, math, the basics. It was a rare moment of clarity wrapped in a mic drop. And the real kicker? It took a Democrat to say what millions of Americans have been thinking for years. But Rahm wasn't done. No, he was just getting started.
We had the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. And nobody, not a governor, not a mayor, not a president, not a secretary of education is talking about it. We're all wrapped up. Look, in 7th grade, if I known that I could have said the word they and got in the girls' bathroom, I would have done it. Okay, we literally are a superpower. We're facing off against China with 1.4 billion people, and 2/3 of our children can't read 8th grade level. So no more about the lot. Wait a second, I'm on a roll for a second. No more. I don't want to hear.
I gave him the light. But
I don't want to hear another word about the classroom. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom until you tell me what you're going to do with the classroom.
I couldn't agree more.
As funny as this exchange is, it's also pretty disheartening. We've become so desperate to avoid offending anyone that a fringe group of ideologues has started dictating what's acceptable. These activists, wrapped in the language of progress, have pushed questionable agendas, like demanding access to women's bathrooms, by cherry-picking studies and distorting facts. We've tossed out common sense and long-standing values, all to appease the loudest voices. But here's the twist. Even some big names on the left, like Rahm Emanuel and Fareed Zakaria, are starting to wake up. Maybe it's Trump, maybe it's Bill Maher, but whatever the reason, it's a welcome shift. Finally, someone's saying what the rest of us have been thinking.
This is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes. It is impossible to build, so the cost of housing. Let me finish. I give you a chance. The cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago. If you look at Democratic states, you go look at New York versus Florida, okay? Roughly the same population. The budget of New York State is twice that of Florida. What do they have? Streets paved with gold? I live in New York. I pay the highest taxes in New York. You get nothing for it. And I think that is the image people have of the Democratic Party. Sure. Lots of taxes, lots of regulation, but nothing gets done.
Hey, and I live in LA.
Bill Maher didn't just get them to reluctantly admit that Trump did something right. He took it a step further. He got them to turn on each other. Watching Rahm Emanuel and Fareed Zakaria subtly, and not so subtly, point fingers across the political divide was like a real-life Survivor episode. As they blamed one another and their own party for the chaos we're drowning in, skyrocketing prices, endless bureaucracy killing small businesses, inflation out of control, and taxes that make you question every life choice, it became clear they were starting to realize they might be the problem. This wasn't just political drama. It was pure poetic justice. After years of lecturing others about running the country, the left is now eating itself alive in a public meltdown of blame and regret. And honestly, it's been glorious to watch. Grab your popcorn, because when the very architects of the disaster start doubting their own blueprint, you know the whole narrative is unraveling.
Democrats have to own this and realize the answer to everything is not more taxes, more regulation. People are fed up of that, and they feel that it isn't working.
The Democrats, look, as somebody who produced the best graduation growth in the country. And they changed our high school.
You were a good mayor, I agree.
No, that's not the point. The point was we changed, but I'll take that. The point isn't the rules. The point is the results. And the party has gotten way too focused on what the rules are. And I do agree with you on this. We have made it impossible to function as a city or as a state.
Here's the big question. Did Fareed Zakaria just wake up? Or has he been quietly complicit while Biden's been driving the country into chaos? For years, CNN wasn't just reporting news. It was campaigning against Trump. skewed panels, echo chambers, and hit pieces with Trump as the villain in every story. So now Zakaria suddenly has this awakening. Where was this when Biden was in charge? It feels too convenient. Zakaria's either been willfully blind or selectively silent, and neither makes him look good. His sudden clarity, it might not be truth setting him free, but the reality catching up with him.
Take an example of this example. Here, obviously in LA, it took a fire and a natural disaster to make you realize, you know what, that rule's not that important. In Pennsylvania, a bridge collapse, all of a sudden we go, well, that environmental rule is just not important. We got to build a bridge. It's much more important. And I think the Democratic Party should take a look at and say, we're going to be honest, like we did in 1994 with reinventing government. Everything is on the table. Nothing is safe. And we just look at it and say, that's essential. Those two things get out of here. And that doesn't happen. And that's a fair criticism.
Maybe this is your next Democratic vice presidential candidate.
And that right there is exactly what so many of us have been screaming for years. If the Democratic Party wants any shot at a real comeback, one that actually connects with everyday Americans, they need to stop with the political theatrics and get down to business. It's time to cut through the fluff, ditch the distractions, and abandon the policies that defy basic common sense. You can't fix a broken system with endless pronoun debates and performative activism. You won't win back working-class voters by obsessing over ideological purity while ignoring the real issues they're facing. Things like inflation, safety, education, and job security. People are burned out. They don't want more lectures, they want real results. They want solutions, not social experiments. So yes, if Democrats are serious about staying relevant, they've got to get rid of the virtue-signaling echo chambers and focus on what actually matters to the average person. Because common sense isn't partisan, it's just been missing for far too long.
You refrain from making any purchases, either in stores or online, to shun fast food, getting gas, for a full day. I know. That look on your face says it all. You're right. It's so fucking...
In the end, Bill Maher did nothing more than hold up a mirror. And let's just say the left wasn't thrilled with what it saw. As voices like Zakaria and Rahm start to break rank, the cracks in the narrative are only getting wider. If the Democrats want redemption, it's going to start with truth. No more theater. And maybe, just maybe, a little common sense. That's it for today. If you found this interesting, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe for more hard-hitting content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.